Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Sussex Sandra and welcome to my channel. Today I'm doing another foundation review, and it's a product that I've been waiting a really long time to do the review. Now the brand is, I've got to get this right, APDG, and the first time I heard about it was in the beginning of August. I saw a tweet about this product and I just heard that it's got a fantastic foundation range. So I clicked on the link and I saw an article on the allure.com website, and on that article they talked about how this brand has got 33 shades of foundation, and it's not just 33 shades of like 50 shades of beige and the one token brand for people of colour. It was something like 16 shades for deeper skin tones, and it goes right to the extreme. So they have like extremely pale, almost practically white, to extremely dark, so it's almost practically black in shades, and they go right across all undertones, and it's just like wow. So when I first saw that, I was like, I've got to get this product. So unfortunately the product is based in America, but I thought, yeah, no big deal, I don't mind that. So I placed the order, and that was August the 13th. I only received the product today, and today is October the 2nd. So yeah, nearly 6 weeks to get the product. And when it came, it wasn't even what I ordered. What they offer to you is you can order full size of the product, and they call the product a pigment. They don't call it a foundation, they call it a pigment. You can use it as a mixing pigment, you can use it as a foundation, you can use it as a concealer, because it's so pigmented. That's why they call it a pigment rather than a foundation. So I ordered one full size product, which is 1 fluid ounce, and I ordered the dark sampler pack, which has got about say 6-7 shades in the dark range. So I'll put a picture of that just here. So 6 weeks later the product came, and it wasn't what I asked for. What came was these two. Right, so these bottles are 2 shades very close together. They're one shade next to the other. So this shade is CC17 and this shade is CC16. So CC17, CC16. I asked for a full size 1 fluid ounce of this, and instead I've got a 0.33, so a third fluid ounce, and I asked for the sampler pack of the dark, and I got this instead. So I am actually quite upset about not receiving the products I wanted, because I really wanted to do a complete swatch of everything to see the colours, and then decide which way I was going to go with it. So I have already sent them an email to say, look, what's going on? I've already waited 6 weeks for this, so how long is it going to take for you to send me the right products? And I'm awaiting the response. But in the meantime, let me do the swatches of these two on my face, and then I'll tell you a bit more about the product. So let's go on my website. So let's have a quick look. So the website which I went to is called apdg.co. The sampler pack is $10. Okay, so the sampler packs come in extra light. So I'll show you that. That's extra light, $10. They come in light, medium dark, which is the one I ordered, and dark. Okay, and the bottles, you don't get a very good picture of the bottles here, but they show them like that. It's 33 shades, and you can see it's all different shades from very light to very dark. So I am going to be trying C16 and C17. What does it say about the products on the website? Let's have a quick look. Right, so on the website it says APDG is an artisan brand located in the American South. While living in the South has its perks, humidity is definitely not one of them. At APDG, we understand the negative effects of humidity, heat, sweat and rain can place on your regimen. But don't worry, we've got you covered. With over a decade of experience formulating products, we strive to not only create products that are vegan and cruelty-free, but also long-wearing products that can withstand the elements. It says our liquid pigments are safe to use on the face, body and lips and are often used by professional dancers, entertainers, body painters, special effects and makeup artists. When applying pigments to the face and body, use a damp makeup sponge or a beauty blender to apply to clean, dry face. Allow to air dry before applying another layer. When applying pigments to the lips, make sure lips are exfoliated and slightly moisturized before use. Apply one layer and let air dry. If needed, apply a second layer and air dry. And to remove pigments, simply use a silicone-based makeup remover or wipe and gently remove from the skin and or lips. So you can tell this is a serious product we are talking about here. So without further ado, let me just try these two products on. So I'm first going to do the C16. I need to take the packaging off first. I mean, the one thing I can see about the C16 is that it's actually very yellow base and it's going to be too light for my skin colouring. But let's just see how it applies on my face. So I'm going to use my fingers and apply this. Let's see. Oh, I see. So it's like a little wand, dough foot applicator. So let's do this. I should say that I've cleansed and toned my skin. I've moisturised using the Fenty primer, and then I put my second primer on top, which is the Becca Ever Matte Poreless, particularly around these areas here where I've got enlarged pores. And then I've set my face with the Urban Decay Velvetizer powder. So I've already done all of that. I've got a clean beauty blender here and it's damp, so let's try and see what this is like. I obviously need a lot more products, so let's put a bit more on. Because I didn't know how pigmented it was going to be, so I didn't apply that much. And you can see on my skin I've got quite a few blemishes here. This is a little bit of dry skin here actually, and it's just dried up as a dark mark, so that will fade eventually. It does take a long time for things to dry on my face though, I must admit. I don't know if it's because the colour's too light, but I'm not getting much coverage. So I'm just going to put another layer on. Actually, they say to let it dry, so let me make that one dry. And I'm going to do the C17, so this colour, on this side of my face, before I go ahead and do another layer on this side. So this is the C17. I think this colour might be better. I'm not liking how either of these are blending into my skin. I am just going to get a setting spray and spray my brush. So I'm just going to use a Skindinavia setting spray. Okay, so this colour's not right for me either. I would say that it is just too red undertoned, but what I'm realising is that I think if you've got a stippling brush, it might be better to use a stippling brush or the sponge to apply the foundation. Let me see if I can put a second layer on this side now, see how we get on. Okay, so that's the second layer on that side of my face. As you can see, it hasn't covered up all of my blemishes. I did leave about 30 seconds in between each layer and before applying. So there's 3 layers on here, and hopefully you can see up here, I'm just going to focus you in a bit more, up here how the foundation, using the beauty blender, how it looks up here. It's all a bit mottled and patchy up here, so I'm not liking that at all, really. I'm just going to let the foundation dry down a bit and then see if I can just do any repair. But just to let you see, this side has got the CC16 on it, and this side has got the CC17. So to me, this side is much better. It's darker colour. It's a much better colour. I still wouldn't say it's a perfect match for my skin, but I'm just going to see how they dry down, and then I'll sort of give you my view about how I feel about the foundation so far. You can probably tell I'm not that enthusiastic already, but let's see. One thing I can definitely say though, they dry down completely, utterly matte, and I don't even think I need to put a finishing powder on the top. I will put setting spray on, but I just want to see what it looks like after about a minute of drying down, and then I'll come back to you in a minute. Alright, see you in a bit. Okay, so I have let the foundation, or sorry, the pigment dry down for about 5 minutes now. On this side it's okay, it's very full coverage, so you can see that there. Yeah, very, very full coverage, covered up nearly everything. This side, I put 3 layers on this side. This side I did 2 layers, this side I did 3 layers. And you can see what's happened is that as I applied more, it started to come off. So you can see it's all patchy around here and up there. So I'm going to see if I can just try to rectify that a bit now. Yeah, it hasn't really done anything at all there. I'm not quite sure what more I can do. It's like the more I bounce, the more the worse it gets. I'm going to see if I can just use a Real Techniques Expert buffing brush and see if that will help at all. Okay, that's better. That is better. If I was going to use this foundation, it looks like the way to go for me and my skin is to use a brush rather than a sponge, a beauty blender or any other sponge at all. But yeah, so there you go. That's how the foundation looks at the moment. So it's been on for about 15 minutes in total now. The time now is 2:15. I've actually done this very late. So I'm only going to keep this foundation on for about 3 hours, 4 hours until it starts getting dark. Really depends on if it rains again later on. If it rains again later on, then it will get dark. So we'll keep this on for a little while. I'm just going to finish the rest of my makeup. Very simple look because I'm working from home today. So very simple look, and then I'll come back to you in a second. Alright, see you in a bit. Okay, so this is the final look with all the products applied on. Just a quick note to say, I wasn't actually very happy with how the products applied on top of this foundation. So I don't know if it was the foundation itself or the primer or anything, but I know that the other products, my primer and my setting powder, I've used before. The only differing factor is the foundation. I found the products very dry in application, so my contour, everything looks very dry on my face, which for someone who's very oily skinned, that is really, really rare. So for example, the contour sort of dragged across my skin, you know, sort of skipped across. That's how dry it felt. And the same with the under eye highlighter, again very dry under my skin, and it still looks dry now. So that is very rare. And the other thing I would say as well about this foundation is that this is the only foundation, I think there may have been another one in recent times, but I can't think of which one. But this is the only foundation I have put on where I felt that I didn't need to put a setting powder on it, because it just looks so dry in finish, and it's a full matte finish, so very much a mattifying foundation. But we'll see how well it performs with my oily skin. So when I come back in about 4 hours, I'll be doing my usual rating system. Okay, so there you go, final look and see how it looks at the moment. Have a good look, because it might not look like this in 4 hours time. All right, so there you go. All right, so I'll see you in 4 hours. Take care. Bye. Right, so good evening. I'm back and I'm here to give you my final thoughts on this foundation. The foundation I was testing out today is not actually a foundation. Well, they're not calling it a foundation. They're calling it liquid pigments, and it's by APDG, or is it APDG? One of the two. There you go. So I had on 2 shades. So on this side I had on the CC17, and on this side I had on the CC16. Once they've both dried down, there wasn't much difference in how the shade looked. So they did slightly oxidize a little bit, but I can't really give it a full all-day wear test today, because I did apply the foundation actually quite late in the day. I put them on just after 2 o'clock and it is just after 6 o'clock now, so it's basically just 4 hours, and 4 hours is my minimum when I want to test foundations for the oil control. Right, so how did this foundation do? So have a look at my face and you can tell me yourself. So let's go through it. So when I do my foundation reviews, I have 5 categories which I look for. So the first one is transfer, to see if the foundation transfers onto lighter clothing, paperwork, etc, etc. The next one is oil, to see if the oil has completely broken through on the foundation. The next one is performance, to see if the foundation has melted, faded or separated on my skin. The next P is for the price, see what the price is like. And the final one is S for shade selection. What I tend to do the oil and the transfer together, and I use the blotting sheets to do the two. So I've got my trusted blotting sheets here. And as we know, for those of you who've watched my channel before, the worst foundations I've tried, they've used a good 5 of these sheets, completely soaking them in oil. And the better foundations tend to use sort of 2 to 3 sheets. I will always produce oil because I'm just an oily skinned person. Right, so bearing in mind that I've only worn this foundation for 4 hours, so I haven't really given it the full test that I like to give foundations. We're going to do this test anyway, so we will be bearing that in mind. Here's blotting sheet number 1. Okay, so there's some oil and a little bit of foundation. There's not much oil though. I'll just do another sheet here. Okay, so that's sheet number 2. So again, some oil and a little bit of transfer, but not much at all. Right, so we've just blotted and my face looks pretty much okay already. So again, we have to consider that it's only been sort of 4 hours that I've been wearing the foundation for. But the oil breakthrough on that was very minimal. What it would be like after 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, I don't know. But as of the 4 hour, which is usually my minimum, this is pretty good. So I'm going to say, actually, this is pretty excellent, actually. I wish I could really do a nice long day wear test, because I'd love to see what this is like after 5 hours. It's just that I know it's gonna start getting really dark. But yeah, I'd say for oil control, I'm going to give this a 9, because this was pretty good. And for transfer, very little transfer as well, very little. So I'm going to give this a 9.5 for transfer and a 9 for oil control. For performance, well, again, after 4 hours, no separation, no fading, no melting at all. Absolutely none. So there's none. So the only score I can give it is a 10 out of 10 for performance. For price, now the price for the full bottle is $24, and if you were to buy the sampler pack, it was $10, and if you bought the little bottles that I've got there, They're like $18 for two of those there. So for price $24, that's actually quite cheap. But it's a case of getting hold of it, because 6 weeks I had to wait to get hold of it, and I still didn't get the products I ordered. So I'd say price is absolutely excellent as well. So I'm going to give that a 10 out of 10 again for price. Shade selection, it does the complete extremes. White to black, literally white to black, and all the shades in between. So I think for shade selection I'm going to give it 10 as well. So what's that? I think what's that? So what did I say? 9 for transfer, 9.5 for oil control. Then I gave 10 for performance, 10 for price, and 10 for shade selection. So we've got 30, 39, 48.5 out of 50. If that's not the highest score I've given, then you can slap me down now. I think that's the highest score I've given. At the same time, I feel I've got a little bit of reservation because I haven't tested this foundation out for the whole day. Not for the amount of time I normally like to test foundations out for. And the second reservation I have as well is in the application, because I found it was really patchy on this side. I don't know if it's because of my skin or what was going on here, but it was just very, very patchy in application on this side. And putting on my under eye highlighter and the contour was very strange as well. So I almost wanted to knock off a little bit just for that alone. So I think I'm going to knock off a little bit on the performance because of the application. It was a bit odd for that. So what did I say for performance? I said 10 for performance. I'm going to knock it down to 9. All right. So that's still a really good score. That's still 47.5 out of 50. What do you think? If you can get hold of the foundation, I think it's definitely worth a try. I wish you luck in doing it, because as I said, 6 weeks it took me to get hold of this foundation, and that's a damn long time. I don't know who's willing to wait 6 weeks to get a foundation from America to the UK. But I think as a foundation, as a pigment, I think it's fantastic. You're not going to go too far wrong. Just watch out for the application. You saw the struggle I had. Just watch out for that. But I think as a product, shade selection, everything else, that's a double thumbs up from me. Okay, what do you think? Let me know. I'd like to say thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to give me a like, and if you haven't subscribed as yet, please don't forget to subscribe down below. And if you press the little bell next to the subscribe button, that will notify you when I do my next upload. Alright, take care, see you soon. Bye.